thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
Open libraries to try and clean up his image at some point. Got a bad one.
Yeah. Good morning, you guys. It is Thursday, November 6th, and today is oh, you guys are gonna love this. This is my favorite day. It's National Cash Back Day.
Cash back, give it to me.
Yeah. I'll take that. I'll take all that. You know what I'm saying? All that cash back. You know what I mean?
Oh, when you get cash back, it just by definition means they're overcharging you. Put that in your head.
Oh man, you know, I was gonna say because I was gonna relate it to Costco, and I don't think Costco's overcharging me, Dale.
Well, if they can give you money back, then by definition they're charging you more than they need to. I mean, my family was in retail sales. I'm just telling you the meetings we used to have. So
yeah, if you buy something from me, it says free shipping. It's built into the price. Don't worry about it.
Got it.
Man, it's just totally rained on my parade, Dale.
Oh, well, see, there we triggered you, dude. We got started off right here.
Good job, Dale. He asked for it.
Fair enough. It's also National. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. It's National Men Make Dinner Day today. Looks like you guys are gonna put on some aprons today, and you know what I'm saying. Chef some things up for your ladies.
I make dinner every night, and I'm proud of it. Let me tell you something.
You make dinner every night, Stone?
Every night, buddy.
What do you make? What's your favorite thing to make?
My favorite thing, man, meat. I like to smoke meat, but
you like to smoke
last night
meat,
we
huh?
had a good shrimp and pasta with some, little sauce I made. The shit was good. You should try it sometime.
Well, next time I'm over in Austin, you know what I'm saying, maybe you'll have me over for dinner instead of just, you know what I'm saying, not being able to visit me at the hotel or something.
You just stayed at the hotel by the airport. Get out of town.
Oh, man. And it is also, let's see, it's also National Saxophone Day. Lisa Simpson.
All right.
Yeah.
The jazz music instrument.
Jazz music, yes. Jazz musical instrument. Also, something I think Monica Lewinsky was playing also.
That was a skin flute.
Oh, yes. Good morning, and thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. There's also high noon on the East Coast, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet, and we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website, www.high9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And man, you guys, Sleepy Joe Biden is being resurrected apparently today because former White House staffers, they shed light on a marijuana pardon and rescheduling process under Sleepy Joe Biden, you guys. That's right. Top White House staffers under the Biden administration have shed new light on the mass marijuana pardon and cannabis rescheduling process they helped facilitate, revealing the extent to which they were involved in broader clemency actions that are now under scrutiny by GOP leaders. As part of a House Oversight and Government Reform Committee investigation into the last administration, which focused on allegations that then President Joe Biden's mental and physical health left key executive decisions up to his staff and his auto pen. Several staffers commented on 2 rounds of pardons that were issued for people who've committed federal cannabis possession offenses. Former Biden Chief of Staff Ronald Klain was asked broadly about Biden's role in approving pardon requests, and he said they were very rare. But the marijuana clemency actions stood out for their scale. He also mentioned being aware of the president's cannabis rescheduling review directive that led federal agencies to recommend moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act. In a quote, "There were no pardons or clemencies in 2021 at all. 2022, there were 2 sets, as I recall. One in the summer, which was derived from a memo the president had issued trying to reschedule marijuana off of Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, and directing the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the head of the DEA to re-examine the rescheduling of marijuana, and making clear that anyone who was in prison for the mere possession in federal prison for mere possession of marijuana was eligible to apply for a pardon under the memorandum." In an additional quote, "I believe a few pardons were ultimately issued, but I was not involved," Klain said in an interview with the committee. "I was involved in the preparation of that memo, but not in the subsequent follow-up in terms of applications to the Justice Department and how those applications came from the Justice Department to the president and whatnot," he says. The former top staffer was referring to a novel process that was instituted after pardons were issued, where recipients could request a certification documenting the clemency action. Asked whether he had any concerns with the president's pardons, Klain said, "My personal views about pardons doesn't go to the question of the president's clemency and whatnot. But I will say that in 2022, when the president pardoned people for possession of marijuana or authorized a pardon for people, authorized people to apply for a pardon for that, we looked at a number of these records," he said. "We found that there were actually very few people in federal prison for mere possession, and most of the people in prison had also used a gun in conjunction with the crime. Many of them were violent offenders, and so we knew that pardon wasn't going to cover that many people. And so I was surprised that the president pardoned many of these people who were violent offenders," Klain said. Anita Dunn, who served as a senior advisor for communications at the White House, also weighed in on the president's pardons, and she said the only clemency cases she was involved in were those dealing with cannabis-related offenses. An attorney representing Dunn in the committee interview clarified that while Dunn was privy to the decision-making process for presidential pardons, obviously the president makes the decision, and the staffer's role largely came down to her participation in providing a recommendation to Biden about the proposed clemency. Neera Tanden, who directed the Domestic Policy Council, White House, and served in other roles under the last administration, was also interviewed as part of the inquiry, and she brought up the cannabis pardons after being asked about whether Biden personally signed off on clemency acts presented to him. "As staff secretary, I believe I dealt with one group of pardons, maybe 2. There were pardons that dealt with people who had possession of marijuana convictions or had some equity issue involved. And I remember a decision memo that went up to the president, and I remember getting the decision memo back," she said. "We had a protocol for decisions for the president. It was a protocol that was established in previous administrations that I followed, which was we had a decision memo, which had a box at the top of it. The decision memo described the decision itself. It said at the top, agree or disagree or to discuss," she said. "We also had a decision card on top of that, which synthesized the decision and also had the card. The president traditionally signed both of those, and I believe there was a decision and a decision card for those pardons," Tanden said. "That series of pardons happened, I believe, in something like December of 2021. Now, I just don't recall the president signing anything directly. We just did have a decision." So you were responsible then for when pardons or communications came down. Were you the one who needed to get President Biden's signature on those documents, the interviewer asked? They were treated like other decisions of the president. So a decision memo came to us. We edited the decision memo, as I recall. It was a decision memo, and then it had materials for each of the pardons, she said. And then we had a decision card. I worked on those. I put it in the decision book. The president received a decision book every day, and I remember getting that decision card and memo back. Ian Sams, a former special assistant to the president who was also pressed on the pardon issue, has said he couldn't recall being involved in any pardon communications. I know that during my tenure, I think there was a large pardon package around, or a commutation or clemency package around nonviolent marijuana convicts, but people who had been convicted of nonviolent marijuana offenses, he said, that happened. I was not part of that communication process at all. So generally speaking, I was not part of that pardon process. Meanwhile, as the marijuana rescheduling proposal initiated under Biden awaits President Trump's decision, some GOP members of Congress are urging him to move forward with the reform, with one lawmaker taking a jab at Biden by joking that it's possible the prior administration must have not been able to find the auto pen in time to complete the cannabis reform process it initiated. Well, this is a very funny, humorous article. You know, it's not funny, the fact that people are in jail for cannabis, but, you know, it is funny the type of answers that and quotes that were in this article. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
If you weren't there, who gives a fuck what you have to say?
Right?
Okay. Absolute pardon power is absolute. Somebody could have written out your pardon, put their name, and whether it's auto-signed or he signs it initially, that's all it takes. You don't have to have all these other. And just to be clear, are you telling me that Donald Trump has all these decisions and boxes checked off and all this stuff when he pardons people? So, I mean, I don't.
He's got a decision book, Dale. He's got a decision book. There's a decision book with the decision cards, and their boxes are checked.
Oh. What does Donald Trump have?
Well, I mean, at least Donald Trump signs his own stuff. You know, doesn't have to worry about an auto pen.
He signed it. Didn't he just even admit he didn't know who this guy was that he just pardoned? That the shyster that they let out of jail?
Well, you know what's funny is I know someone that was cellmates with this guy, CZ. CZ is who you're talking about, right? Yeah, CZ, yeah. The cryptocurrency guy. There's a whole lot more to that case. So I understand the pardon a little bit more than I think than most, and a lot of the stuff that I know has not been put out into the media. And this show is not long enough for me to go into elaborate on that, Stone, as I know that you would love me to. But
we can skip that. Let's talk about the blanket pardoning of how many. I would love to see if we can get the names of the people that got out that Biden might have auto-pinned out, and then compare those to the January 6 guys and how many guys ended up back in jail.
Well, I can give you a full account of all that, because I have the names of everyone that was released from prison for cannabis offenses under that blanket pardon that President Biden issued. I have all the names.
We knew.
All the names.
We knew when that came out that wasn't gonna. It wasn't going to touch a lot of people.
I have. Well, first of all, Stone, it actually not just a bunch of people. It actually touched no one. It actually released no one from prison. There's absolutely no one on that list, because no one was released from prison from that blanket pardon, Stone. Zero.
So
big fat goose eggs.
Prison then. That's good. Just kidding.
Just propaganda. We knew it then. Mm-hmm. It's propaganda now.
It is.
And bringing up we're going to reschedule was just propaganda.
Yep.
Because they hit the shitstorm. Once they started that, they ran into it, and it's like now it's just sitting there, twiddling its thumbs. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
We have not been treated well. Let's just put it that way.
Hey, OG Grandma in the chat, he says, pardon this article. That's pretty good.
You just to light your joint.
Yeah. Yep. Fair enough. Nate, you have any thoughts you want to throw in this before we move on?
Sounds like an unmitigated shit show to me, man. I want no part of it.
Oh, fair enough. And on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back. That's why I couldn't help that one.
Yeah.
But Dale, I have one for you. This one is specifically, I found this one specifically for you because I could just imagine what would happen if this was you, Dale. Okay, you ready? An alleged leader of an illegal marijuana operation accused of threatening to kill investigators. That's right, Farmington, Maine, you guys. The alleged leader of an illegal marijuana operation in Maine that involved a prosecutor and a member of law enforcement is now accused of threatening to kill those who investigated him. Lucas Sirios is one of 12 people charged in an alleged cover-up of marijuana operation in Farmington, according to court documents. A special agent with the FBI met with a witness who had gone hunting with Sirios and says during that trip, Sirios said, quote, "If I get wind that the case isn't going right, I'm going to end everyone that put me in this position," he says. The witness said Sirios meant he would kill a police officer and district attorney involved in investigating the charges in the indictment. And Sirios is facing several federal charges, including conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, tax evasion, and bank fraud. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the alleged drug conspiracy brought in more than $13 million between 2016 and 2020. And prosecutors say the operation distributed more than 1,000 kilograms of marijuana and 1,000 marijuana plants. Wow. Dale, I think they're kind of putting words in his mouth. Like, I understand what he's saying a little bit, but I don't think that he went out to specifically state that he was going to kill the prosecutor and kill, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he was referring to whoever was snitching on him. Maybe that was the reference was to, but I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Well, if you ain't prepared to deal with shit like this, stay out of the gray or black market.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
What you have to deal with here.
Yep.
And most people involved aren't stand up enough to go, okay, I'll hide my own beef.
That's right.
I want to go out and we're dealing with people who are not particularly agreeable in the first place, maybe have a little anger problem and have access to weapons. And I've had people threaten to kill me. But going after the police is not a smart move.
No.
They have more guns than you got.
Yep.
It's a simple statement.
Yep.
It's pretty stupid. People run their mouth all the time. And unless they got this on audio recording, turns into he said, she said. We'll see. It's pretty common to sound blow that motherfucker's head off if he runs his mouth. Okay.
Yeah, but Dale, usually, but courts, if there's a CI involved in case and in testimony, they generally take their word without any type of audio recording or anything.
Well, I don't know if I'd say generally. When you put someone who's a CI up and they're up to their eyeballs in the problem, then, as a defense attorney, I tried to tear them apart. They got a sweet deal. I mean, I had snitches in my case. We had to deal with them.
Yeah.
Okay? And the jury just looked at them and said, we don't believe a damn word you're saying. So they basically told them to pack it up. But there are other times when they do believe them.
Yeah.
Depends on the circumstances around it. It's just ugliness. And it's another reason why we need to legalize this shit and get us out of this entire underground marketplace thing here. And if somebody who's running a legit business says things like that, put them in handcuffs and take them away. We got no place for this in the industry.
Yeah. Fair enough. What do you think about this, Nate? Would you go around telling
No. It's been a minute since you mentioned the dude's name, so I don't know if this joke tracks, but this sounds like some pretty serious allegations.
I see what you did there. Nate.
So what we've got here, and I think Dale nailed it, it's really all about, this is the effects of having an illegal market that still has the opportunity to flourish alongside a regular market. Generally spoken, and Jason, you were one of the first license holders pretty much in America, right? And I mean, after how much blood and sweat and money and years of your life you put into having a licensed, full-fledged legal operation, how much were you ready to F with that? Like, not at all, maybe, because how much work your life is now into that. I know this personally from things that I've done as well.
That's what I'm saying,
You don't mess around. And so then you take this other side, the yin to the yang of licensed industry, and you just look at industry in general. And now you're looking at illegal industry. At the end of the day, it's been proven time and time again that people in illegal industry have almost nothing to lose. Like it's slap on the wrist status and you're back out on the streets. And maybe you lost the building you were renting from, but give me 6 weeks and I, as that unlicensed dude, I'm back up and running in some other capacity. And that's shown me some level of impunity. I can do whatever the fluff I want right there, right?
Yeah.
And being able to allow that kind of breakdown and snowball effect is what you end up getting with this stuff. You have people acting with impunity when really all the rest of us are trying to do is run a legitimate business. And how dare those people allow us to get confused, conflated with having the same intentions? Like it couldn't be any more different. And why? Like, I mean, it's like, do I need to get a fucking tattoo also that says like registered, like this is me trying to play by the rules? Don't look at that guy because he's not. Like to Dale's point, let's come around full circle. Just legalize it already. Look at what you're doing when you don't. If you would let people continue to bootleg and produce like, anywhere between dangerous to crappy to, illegal alcohol, the same shit would be happening, man. And so why? There's almost, I half believe that the people in charge want this to happen because it's in their MO to keep us confused and fighting. Whereas like, why? We could be so far past this, right? Right, Jason? Right, everybody who's listening?
We could be
so far past this.
We could be. But, then we wouldn't have stories like this to cover, Nate, if we were so far past it. Just saying.
Touche, bro.
Just saying. We wouldn't get to talk about this craziness. You know what I mean? Stone, I could totally see you going after someone that stole your Delta 8 pen like this.
Fuck you. Excuse me. F you, Jason. Too early for an F-bomb in the show? I forgot.
Yeah. F-bombs are for after the show. F-bombs are for after the show and during commercial.
I 100% agree with everybody there. Good story though. I appreciate you bringing that.
Okay, I couldn't help myself. I was like, oh man, I was like, I could just picture Dale like just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna kill that prosecutor. I'm gonna kill that. And I'm gonna represent myself, and I'm gonna win. Oh man, don't I actually did know someone that like they got an enhancement charge on their federal charges because all that they were doing is when they were talking on phones and they were listening in, recording their phone calls or whatnot, they were like, I hear you guys, I hear you back there, da 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 da, and this and that. I hear you guys, I know you guys are recording me and this and this and that, and they gave them an enhancement just for making those statements, and it wasn't even any type of violent statement. Crazy world we live in. Crazy world. But and we do want to wish a very, very happy birthday to Jesse out there. Happy birthday, Jesse. We hope you have an amazing day today. And we're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right into attorney at law, Mr. Dale Schafer. Dale's been an attorney since the Reagan administration. He's represented physicians, hospitals, insurance companies, cops, corrections officers, and for the last 25 years, he specialized in cannabis law. He served a 5-year federal prison sentence for helping medical marijuana patients and managed to save his law license. He's blunt. He doesn't smoke them because they're ratchet, they're nasty, they turn your teeth yellow on top of other things yellow. But he is honest, and he's unconcerned with your opinion, public opinions, and anyone else who wants to identify anyways opinions. And he will show you how he can defy gravity by pissing up a rope. That's right, it is your favorite Tio Loco, and you can now find him at his own law office at the law office of none other than Dale Schafer.
Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite Tio Loco.
Yeah.
You're top of the list full of shiticus this morning. And my story comes out of Marijuana Moment from yesterday by Kyle Yeager. And the headline is, the majority of Americans still back marijuana legalization despite big drop in Republican support under Trump, Gallup poll shows. Now, first of all, let me just say and remind you of what Mark Twain said 100 years ago, that there's lies, damnable lies in statistics. Gallup went out and surveyed 1,000 people, came up with their incredible epiphany here. So just take it with a grain of salt. But from their survey, it seems that there's a precipitous 13-point drop in Republican support for marijuana reform. Okay. And I don't know how accurate that is. They say there's a plus or minus 4% accuracy. Just remember, there's lies, damn lies, and this sort of full of shit stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does raise a question, because going into the election, Trump raised rescheduling, the Florida initiative, and banking, things like that. And Jason was all excited, oh, Republicans are going to push this over the line.
They are.
Well, not according to this. You guys have precipitously lost support amongst the Republican base. Okay, so now they're starting to ask questions. What might be causing this? Okay, and that's where things get a little bit, we're just trying to read tea leaves here. I'm not sure I know what's causing it. If it's actually the precipitous drop they're saying it is. I'm not saying this is actually what's happening. It does bring up a bigger question about what kind of support do we have across the board. It's overwhelming support for the Democrats and independents, well above like 70%. It's way up there. Republicans supposedly now went from 50 to 37% or something. It's way down there. Okay? It's a trend that we need to watch, because what I thought about now, and they mentioned the story, is that Trump is doing what I would call masculine responses to people not doing what he wants them to do or following the law. He's blowing the shit out of them in the Caribbean and in the Eastern Pacific. Okay. And I think I mentioned this a bit yesterday, but my brother-in-law is a cultural anthropologist, and they really talk about the way the masculine versus the feminine approach problems. And there's no question in my mind, the way that Trump's approaching problems today is what a trad dad would do. Oh, you didn't do what I told you to do? I'm going to beat the shit out of you with a belt. Or I'm going to blow your boat out of the water with a rocket. We're not going to discuss this anymore. Now, we're watching this on TV, and the approach to drug reform has historically been a masculine approach. Beginning in 1937, there was no women involved. No one asked them if they gave a shit about marijuana. They passed the Reform Act. We got the Controlled Substances Act. Again, there wasn't a woman asked about how do we handle this. Richard Nixon, the Congress said, we're going to impose this on you. If you don't like it, we're going to kick your ass. And since 1970, the reformers have been trying to get that heavy-handed, I'm going to kick your ass approach. Let's stop and look at who we're really dealing with here. Okay, we've taken a lot of steps towards understanding this plant is used by people for its medicinal qualities, safer than alcohol. These are all, and let me just put it in a feminine, these are the things that you would talk about as you're sitting down trying to work a problem out and be empathetic. The other side is, I told you not to do it, I'm going to kick your ass. Now, where are we in this approach? Because the federal government is still tantalizing or putting out the carrot, oh, we might reschedule, let's talk about that. We've all talked about that. I think that's an absolute disaster. Best way is to deschedule and take it out of the Controlled Substances Act any way that we can. Okay. But I remember when Nancy Reagan got into a position of power, and she took the just say no approach. Her dad was an alcoholic. And if you've ever been around psychiatrists and psychologists, as soon as you let them know I was raised by an alcoholic, you get a big sticker on your chart. Okay, we got to look at you through a different lens because your perception of drug use is different than the average person. Trump's brother Fred was a drunk and he died from alcoholism. So I have to believe that there's some part of that is inside of him, that when you take a look at drug and alcohol use, get more of the masculine approach. I don't have any patience for this. I said, no, don't do it. Why can't you stop? Blah, blah, blah. And what I'm watching right now is telling me that, he's pretty comfortable with that. Him and Pete Hegseth are willing to just go out and blow the shit out of you if you don't do what we want you to do when it comes to drugs. And I'm concerned a bit because I thought we had moved beyond that and that we could find other ways to deal with the importation of drugs, how we deal with them internally in the country and things like that. But I think this statistic, if it's accurate, might portend we're going back to more of we're going to strap it on and kick your ass if you don't do what we tell you to do, rather than trying to work on, this is a medical problem. How do we deal with the people who are addicted and move to another place. I'm just putting this out there for a point of discussion. I really don't know if this is where they're going, but it seems like Republican support for cannabis reform has dropped considerably here. And what that's going to mean for passing legislation, I just remind people, cannabis is not the biggest problem being faced by the United States right now. Okay, we've got a lot of other issues. Courts may get involved and things like that. But I've been involved in the reform movement for a very long time. And when you see, reform movements beginning to slip a little bit, I think it's important to point out that we might see some slippage here. And what's that going to mean? And what can we do to try to understand how to get this back on a track, to reform the way we look at this plant, not treat people like they're importing tons of heroin or cocaine or fentanyl in our country. Let's not let cannabis use be treated like that. I'm going to throw this back at you because there's a whole lot to discuss here, maybe unspoken yet, and I'm pretty sure that Jason's going to have a retort. My concern that the Republicans are getting a little antsy about supporting cannabis reform. Throw it back at you. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm not, first of all, Dale, first of all, you have to always check the source. Did they say where this polling data was coming
Gallup.
from? From where?
Gallup.
From Gallup. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not too sure.
Soros organization, right?
What's that?
Okay. You're a George Soros organization? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm just saying, I would.
I'm reading the tea leaves here, right?
You know who actually has the best polling, probably better than anybody? Polymarket. Polymarket has the best polling than anybody else. And if you don't know what Polymarket is, it's the way for people to be able to bet on political outcomes. And I think that has the best polling than any of these things. Gallup has been doing it for a very, very long time. They're very institutionalized. So I'm not too sure how much I necessarily buy into this, because a lot of the times it's designed, these polls sometimes with how they ask the questions, it's designed to create a certain pre-desired outcome. You know what I mean? Similar to like DEA studies. You know what I'm saying? When they just study cannabis, to where they're not going to allow any studies that are going to show the benefits of cannabis to be able to be funded, to be able to be studied. So I'm not sure if I really buy this. They always want to paint Republicans as the boogeyman and all of these different types of things. So I'm not necessarily too buying it, but at the same time, I don't think it matters as much. Because once the president gets behind something, he's going to rally the troops and people are going to fall in line. And that's just what is going to end up happening. And so the president has already voted. Hold on, Dale. The president has already voted for legalization in Florida. He's been the most pro-cannabis president that we have witnessed in our entire lifetime, Dale. Even with him, he could do nothing and sit on his ass, and he would still be more pro-cannabis, because guess what? No businesses are getting rated under him. No businesses were rated under his 45 tenor, and no businesses were rated under his 47 tenor. So I'm not buying any of this BS propaganda, because I got rated under Bush. I got rated under Obama, and Obama was supposed to be this grandioso savior to cannabis, yada, yada, yada. But I got rated twice by the DEA under Obama. So that's all total bullshit. So let's just go for that part. And if you guys want to touch on that subject, please, by all means. I love to hear all opinions and voices.
Where do you start? The logical fallacies you throw out are just incredible. It's a false comparison to these different
It's
presidents.
true.
I don't think Donald Trump is a deep enough thinker to have any clue whatsoever about what the fuck is going on with cannabis. He does what people tell him to do. The last person out of the room gets his ear. He doesn't know what. The last president who was actually going to do something was Jimmy Carter. Okay, until Peter Bourne, his drugs got popped for coke and writing a prescription to somebody. So, I don't buy any of this stuff. I don't think Donald Trump has a fucking clue about cannabis.
He does.
My concern is that his brother died of alcoholism, and that puts things into your head about how you deal with people who use drugs that are difficult to get beyond. Okay.
Well, I know Susie Wiles is pushing him in that direction.
If he's not going to do this, then we're going to have some problems here, because Trump cannot reschedule marijuana by himself. I mean, you can write an order, the courts will stop it. Congress has to do this, and
but he can direct Pam Bondi to. He can direct Pam Bondi to. He can direct Pam Bondi to, and Pam Bondi can through an executive order do it.
The courts will stop him.
No. The courts cannot stop an action from the Justice Department. The Justice Department can do that with just a simple pen stroke. Yeah, I'm not shitting you, Dale.
You get that understanding.
It's true.
You're not a YouTube lawyer, dude. So whoever.
Just because I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night doesn't mean I'm not a lawyer, Dale. Yeah. Just saying.
Well, the stuff coming out of your mouth tells me that you have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
No, I trust me. I know this. I know this. I know this beyond a reasonable doubt, and I'll find some stuff and I'll send it over to you so that we can back this up. Like I'm not making this up. The Attorney General does have the ability to reschedule through or deschedule through an executive order. They do have that power. Now, however, that is not a permanent thing as what an act of Congress would be a permanent thing. So that could change from any administration to any administration. So if a new administration came in and wanted to change that directive, they would have the ability to do that. But that is the reality of what could actually happen.
I hope no one's paying you for this legal advice, dude. Okay,
Dale, I'm going to educate you on this, Dale. Apparently, I'm going to educate you on some case law.
Please do.
I will.
What you're talking is that you read a Cracker Jack box. And you think you know what the fuck you're talking about? And
No, I do. I do, Dale. I promise you. I promise you. I'm right on this.
I don't mean that you know what you're talking about.
Oh, Dale.
Oh man, it's the problem with this country. Everybody thinks they're a fucking expert on everything, and they're not. You just can't say I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no opinion.
Well, this is something I've actually researched that I actually do know as factual information. That's why I'm holding so hard on it.
Every sovereign citizen I've ever heard research the UCC, and I'm just traveling too. It don't mean it's going to fly in a court of law. So you think what you want. That's delusional thinking, Jason. What are you going to do? Brain surgery on yourself too because you researched it? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. There's the problem. You answered yes. There's the problem, folks.
Oh, hold on, Dale. I'm going to pull up some stuff for you right now. Give me a second.
Well, I don't care what you pull up. You know, I was tested on the Constitution.
Hold on. Here. Hold on, Dale. I got some information for you. Yes, the U.S. Attorney General has the authority to reschedule or deschedule cannabis under the Controlled Substances Act. The power is outlined in 21 U.S.C. 811A, which grants the Attorney General the ability to add substances to the schedules, transfer them between schedules, such as rescheduling, or remove them entirely, descheduling or decontrol. In practice, this authority is delegated to the administration of the DEA, a component of the Department of Justice, which handles the formal rulemaking progress.
Okay.
That's from patriotfighter.net.
Yeah. Who's the author of this opinion?
I did this. I searched. I searched on ChatGPT, and Jason might have a little bit of truth.
I'm honest. I'm being honest about this, Dale. I'm going to email you this, so then that way you can do your research into 21 USC 811.
Something in here, okay? If you deschedule, okay, it doesn't change all the other federal laws that mention cannabis or marijuana. Okay, that's why
I agree with that.
It's got to go to Congress for a complete redo of cannabis.
Dale, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that part. But at the same time, by that token, if the policy was changed through the Attorney General's office, it would force those laws to have to be re-examined, and they would be a piece by piece, layer by layer, you know what I'm saying, peeling back the onion type of a situation. I do agree with you on that part, Dale. I do agree with you on that part, but the Attorney General does have the ability to do it, and we do want to wish Kendra a very, very happy birthday today as well. I'm gonna email this to you, Dale.
Dude, and you just say, oh, it's black and white.
It's pretty black and white. No. It's pretty black and white, Dale.
No, it's not. See, this is the problem. These waters are deep, and you're thinking with your Paleolithic brain, I want a yes or no answer, an A or B, an up or down. It's not that simple. So to say, oh, it's rescheduled because Pam Bondi signs a piece of paper, that's just patently not true. Okay.
I don't know,
So
Bill.
to believe that because you read this and it says, oh, she can do it, you can do what? Move it from one to not. Then there's all these other goddamn laws out there that's why it takes an act of Congress.
I agree with that. I agree with that with that portion. But nonetheless, I just emailed it to you so you can research this, and we'll take a deeper dive into this next week. You know what I mean? But I can't wait for next week. I'm really excited for this. Maybe we should do this next Thursday when you guys are both back, Stone and Stone and Nate. Do you think that, or
what are we doing? What's the next Thursday?
Next Thursday, I think. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the play. I think that's the play. But we'll see. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, too, in regards with the Department of War bombing these ships that are coming from Venezuela and all stuff that are full of drugs, I don't necessarily have a problem with that either, personally. I just, it's the FAFO, you know what I mean? The reality is that this country has a serious problem. And I do agree with you, Dale, that we need to approach it from all of our U.S. citizens that are here that are seriously drug dependent. We need to approach that from a medical aspect. But at the same time, it's kind of a two-prong approach where you do the treatment on the people that are here domestically that are victims of this drug dependency, and at the same time you start to cut off the flow of it coming in that is making it so available to everybody.
Doesn't work and never has. Who made Donald Trump the judge, jury, and executioner? This, I believe, violates international criminal laws.
I don't know.
And I don't think they care about that. But you just can't murder people without due process in an international setting, or you're going to get yourself in trouble. And we shall see how this works out.
I have a question, Dale. Who are we going to get in trouble by? Who are we going to get in trouble by? Who are we going to get in trouble by? Who are we going to get in trouble by? Who would we get in trouble by as the United States of America? Seriously.
Well,
the United Nations.
And see, this is the masculine thinking. We're the big gorilla. Who in the fuck is going to tell us no?
I understand that. This is why I'm asking this. This is exactly why I'm asking that. Who is going to be able to?
International Criminal Report can indict him. Then if he goes into a country, he can be arrested. Now, anybody have the balls to do it? I don't know. But, let's stop and think about whether we want to go butt heads with another 800-pound gorilla and what's going to happen from that, overlooking like I'm macho because I can blow the fuck out of a couple guys going across, the Caribbean with a boatload of cocaine. And that's shooting ducks in a barrel. I don't know what it's supposed to prove, but, it's something. Tell me, Vlad,
I think it's
personally. I don't want to see trade agreements get any worse and my groceries get any more expensive. Like it's like if we found a cap or a downward turn on this kind of stuff anytime soon, I'd be all about it. So yeah, I'm with Dale here. Why would we even suggest that there's nothing worse that can happen to the U.S.? There's a lot worse. We don't produce 100% of the resources we rely on, for one, and we'll be absolutely screwed by the rest of the world if we get cut off and sealed off, for two. And if we treat the rest of the world like the rest of the world feels like they would be treated inside the U.S. right now, whether or not I'm objectively correct is not up for question. It's what people feel in terms of how this yin and yang relationship works with the U.S. right now. I don't want to see it get worse, bro. I mean, you take that as you will, but I don't want to see things get worse. I don't
think any of us want to see things get worse.
I don't want to see any what are you going to do about it scenarios. Like that would really.
I'm not trying to say a scenario, but I'm just being realistic. Like who I don't understand who would be able to reprimand us for protecting our country. I don't understand who would be able to reprimand us for this.
They'll hit us in our wallets, really.
Who?
I mean, what they'll
Venezuela?
Do is
we don't import anything from Venezuela.
I think that the rest of what Dale's point was is that if the rest of the world recognizes us as being responsible for certain crimes against humanity. And if we as a country are seen to support that, that will affect all of us, regardless of the fact that we had no decision in having taken things this far in the first place. That's really to your point, bro.
To your point, Nate, to your point, you know, America has never been more respected on the international stage by other countries, especially our allied countries, than we ever have been now. So I don't, you know what I mean?
Where do you get
I think there's a difference between respected and
Polymarket,
useful, bro.
Polymarket, Dale. Polymarket. Shout out to Polymarket. We love you guys. Polymarket for the win. Stone.
Yeah, well.
Stone, what do you think about all this?
You're not getting me on it. These guys, dude, are you fucking kidding me? We're not respected on the world stage.
100% we are.
Come on.
100% we are.
Absolutely not.
Who doesn't respect us?
We're useful. We're not respected.
Like that's where do we fall on the country's safest countries in the world? We're pretty freaking far down now.
I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. I would disagree. I'd push back on that one. But I'd love to see some other supporting evidence of showing one way or another. I'm totally open to viewing that, and you know what I'm saying. But I'm not sure that we're there. Dale, this was a great story, Dale. I'm so glad you brought this topic up today.
Well, I mean, there's some topics here that obviously trigger people.
Yeah, pow, pow, pow.
Let me just be blunt. And when I was a kid, we had the duck and cover, in school.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Everybody had these crazy things called nuclear weapons. Mm-hmm. And we eventually realized we got to stop threatening each other, okay? Mm-hmm. And it seems like people have forgotten that we have the ability to kill our species. We got an 800-pound gorilla beating his chest. I'm going to fuck you up, okay? Well, be careful what you ask for, because I've got kids and grandkids, and you can't duck and cover from what would be sent at us or we would send at them. And human beings, we have a Stone Age brain. When you stress us, the males especially tribe up and get violent. And I'm seeing us moving towards that, okay? And I don't think it's a good place. There's no question we can fuck up any country we want to in this world, but not without consequences. And this is going to have consequences. And I mean, I was a trad dad. You know that. I do. Yeah. Beat your ass, okay? Mm-hmm. But there was also other forces in play here that would get me to look at, no, let's not just beat the shit out of them. Let's find another way to deal with the problem. That's where we need to be going, Jason. And I want to remind you again, there's the 43% of people in the middle that are watching this going, holy shit, I don't like what I'm seeing. You don't get their support, then this administration's done. The Democrats found out in the last election, you don't get those people on board, you're going to be outside the candy store looking in.
Yep.
I'm just warning people. And I want my children and grandchildren to be around. I know we can blow shit up, but we could be blown up too. So just careful what you ask for.
That's a fair point, but man, maybe we should start an international relations show. That would be interesting just to go on. But we're gonna keep this train rolling. We're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we are gonna be right back.
Every legend has a humble beginning.
In world news, leaders are gathering today for the annual summit.
I want to tell you something, Che. The government is watching us through the television.
Oh, John.
Look, right there. They're trying to hack into my TV box.
We're still not able to hack into the TV box, sir.
Ha! But they can't. I've rebuilt the entire electronic system, and it sends and receives signals through quantum phase space. They'll never get in. Engage target.
In other news, local authorities are investigating a series of strange atmospheric phenomena reported by residents.
Ma'am, we're with the federal government. We need to ask you some questions.
John?
Is there a problem? We've been trying to penetrate your TV box for over 6 months.
I told you they were trying to watch us through the TV, but you didn't believe me.
We can't get in, and to be frank, we have no idea what you've created.
Yeah, that's the point. It's called privacy. You know what the Fourth Amendment guarantees? All we know is that we can't get inside. We want to know if you can create one for us.
QUX. Even the government wants one.
But nonetheless, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And we do want to wish a very, very happy birthday out there to Kendra and to Jesse today. Happy birthday, you guys. Much love.
Introducing QUX Pay, or simply the Pay app.
Where you can pay like it's nobody's business.
Because it isn't. It's what everyone's been clamoring for. It's finally here.
Secure every payment. Your data stays private. QUX will never sell your data for profit, period. Pay friends, family, contacts instantly. No hidden fees. No limits. Spend on the move.
With this patented technology, you can use debit, credit, bank transfers, cash cards, and even crypto completely offline.
Amounts transferred through the Pay app reach their destination instantly. Transfers in a flash. As quick as sending a text. No more waiting around like crypto. Are you ready for the future of payments? The state of the art for money is finally here.
Data privacy and security protocols trusted by militaries and banks worldwide. QUX Pay, the Pay app.
Available as an app and point of sale system, personal and corporate accounts available. Go to QUXPay.com and start using the Pay app today.
With money to help finance.
And we are back, and we are going to roll right into Mr. Stone Slade. Stone is from the great city of Austin in the great red state of Texas, where he's constantly singing the blues because everyone else in Austin is constantly singing the blues too. That's right. And he's matching with a blue shirt today. It is none other than Mr. Stone Slade.
All right. Thanks,
yes.
Jason. Thanks, little buddy.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right. It's hard to believe it's already been 5 years since Arizona voters gave the green light to adult use cannabis. And in that time, the state's industry has gone from wide open Wild West energy to a tightening market where survival depends on discipline, innovation, and consumer trust. Carolyn Riggs from Copper State Farms says that the Arizona cannabis industry is in full swing market correction. What once looked like an endless green rush has leveled into a reality check where lean operations, controlled inventory, and product segmentation and retail innovation are now keys to survival. Riggs believes Arizona needs wholesale standards to prevent race to the bottom pricing and a stronger focus on proven strain diversity and consumer education. When price wars take over, quality and trust are usually the first casualties. Jeff Freeman of Infused says that the next phase is about consolidation, innovation, and consumption. Bigger companies are merging, technology is evolving, and consumers are getting smarter. It used to be a one-size-fits-all market, and now customers are rewarding risk takers and innovators where brands either evolve and double down or get left behind. Tom Rimbach from Baked Bros believes the next decade will belong to brands that earn loyalty through efficiency, authenticity, and brand trust. He's also calling for action on intoxicating hemp. Hemp should be legal everywhere, but the highly processed conversion of hemp into intoxicating cannabinoids should never be allowed. The only place consumers should be able to purchase intoxicating cannabis products is through legal, regulated, licensed dispensaries. The hemp loophole remains the biggest thorn in the side of legitimate operators. If Arizona wants to stay one of the more stable adult use markets, regulators need to close the door before the black market waters rise again. Still, it's not all gloom. Despite a 13% year-over-year dip in sales, the numbers aren't out of step with California or Colorado. The Arizona market isn't collapsing, it's stabilizing, and with stabilization comes the real work of building a sustainable future. The future, according to Pure Edibles, Andreas Sandoval, needs to be both mom and pop shops and corporate players. Independent stores tend to really listen to their consumers. And she said that at the same time, corporate players have a strong role to play as well. A healthy mix of independent and larger operators is what will define a strong, sustainable future for Arizona cannabis. Leah Stegley added that cannabis will be defined by the individuals that stand up for what's right, those that choose education and inclusion over profit. It's just a reminder that behind all the market reports and price charts are real people still trying to protect the plant and communities built around it. Then there's Marvina Thomas. Actually, she started 420 Collections with a single bar of soap and a belief in cannabis power to heal. While we're experiencing a slight downturn today, she says, as rescheduling and possible federal legalization take place in the future, the industry will continue to grow. More and more, the stigma is being replaced by the understanding of the medical and healthier aspects of the plant. So 5 years in, Arizona cannabis scene isn't the gold rush that it once was, but that might be exactly what it needed. The quick money crowd is mostly cleared out, leaving room for builders, educators, and innovators. The next 5 years will decide if Arizona becomes a model of sustainability or another cautionary tale of overproduction and overregulation. But if these voices are on your side, there's still plenty of green ahead. It just may not be the kind you count in cash. I'm Stone Slade with the High at 9 News.
Well, it's interesting, Stone. I mean, Arizona's a pretty decent market. They're pretty well self-sustained. They have a, like people still do make money in Arizona. It may be getting a little bit tougher for people in Arizona, but overall, it's still like a healthy, robust marketplace. I would consider it, at least. You know what I mean? It's not
one of the ones we always continue to hear about.
Yeah.
in a bad way. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Really well.
Exactly. So shout out to all them. What are you shaking your head for, Dale? What's going on?
Well, they're just following the model that we stumbled through here in California and in Colorado, where you start out with, oh, everything's going to be great, hog farm, let's play Grateful Dead music and have all our friends here and find out I can't pay the bills doing that. Okay, so start falling by the wayside. So now when I help someone, set up a business, we have a history lesson with them. Okay, it's like, you need to get rid of all the ideas you have about what you think this industry is and treat it like it's a startup business. Your profit margins will be slim, if not none.
Yep.
You need to be close to the core here, and you got to run it and take steps forward based upon cash flow and success, not go out and hawk yourself to your bones to put out, whatever it is, your idea of the greatest dispensary in the world. Nobody shows up.
Yep.
Okay? And at some point, they'll be studying this at the Wharton School or whatever business school you want to go to and look at this and go, how could you guys be so stupid? Well, we watched it. We're living it. Okay. And Arizona's like, shit, that all didn't work out well. And now back up, readjust. Intelligence is the ability to adapt, and they're adapting.
Yeah.
And, Arizona is a Republican state.
I don't know about that.
Core. Well, no, they still think business is conservative and they pay the bills and things like that. So they're a little different than California, which is, oh, let's go play on mommy's money and everything will be fine. So I think they're a little better at that than we were, but they're learning the same lessons, and they all will, until all the nonsense of the black market is taken away and you're allowed to just be a legitimate business that, can set up without $1 million investment and maybe be a mom and pop and make it. Otherwise, you have to have money behind you. And money's not for free. It's got strings attached. It just becomes, anytime you got to bring somebody on board as an investor, they got something to say about what you do.
Yep.
It's not necessarily what you want to do.
Yep.
And then you're right back to where we are now. Shit, we're circling the drain. How do we fix this? The government's got to help us out, and they don't seem to have a lot of inclination to help us out right now. So anyway, I'll shut up for a minute.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Nate, what do you think about this Arizona market? You gonna go and do some work out there?
My perspective was virtually the same as Dale's, just in different words.
Yeah.
What I noticed, having been in the industry for over 24 years now, what I had noticed is the difference in how California, which was really all over the place and chaotic in terms of how that came together and what the effects of, having lived that and seeing where it's at now, which not great, but to see where, something born essentially a chaos and how it ended up. And then Arizona, it was very controlled. I mean, it's, to a lot of Dale's points, he added some nuance to that. But from my seat, Arizona's industry was super controlled when it came out. And it was an interesting, and they came out quite a few years ago too. So it was an interesting experiment to see what a controlled industry would bear. And I think personally, it's really interesting to hear that they're going through similar patterns to what California is doing. And that's really interesting because their industry wasn't necessarily born of chaos, at least comparatively speaking, not like California's. And to see it going through the same patterns is interesting, humbling, in some ways, not that I would ever wish difficulty on others like that, but it does open my eyes quite a bit to see that our struggle wasn't something that just belonged to us and just based on the roots from which we saw this come together, that this is a mindset. And I think Dale put it really well. This is a mindset that maybe has permeated the industry and permeated everybody around the industry, whether they be an investor or the operator or the taxer or whomever else. You've seen the same pattern stumble on, and it has the same systemic pattern no matter where you go in the industry, where you see this flourishing point. And as people go through essentially all their investment dollars and the investors go, no, you're done for now. And you see people say, okay, we have this, full-fledged running business with everything how we were doing it. It's right. And then they look around and they go, no, we totally were pissing away all our money that whole time. And it sounds to this, maybe to the listener, to be awful specific, but Dale, Jason, like Stone, like how many times have you seen this played out from one cannabis business over another? Dale, you put it beautifully. And so it's really interesting to see that that's not something that just belonged to our chaotic arses over here, but again, something systemic to how I guess the stoner business person thinks / how the taxer thinks / how everybody else who's operating thinks, where it's going to be a walk in the park. It's not. You need to be on top of your shit. If there's anybody who makes it look like they're flourishing and they're enjoying it, it's because they live and breathe it and they found a balance with it. It still tears them away from their family and developing friendships and everything else. It's not the way to live, but it is a way to go if you effing love this industry and the plant, and if you're going to see it succeed no matter what. That's what keeps people going in it after you go through this hump. And that's a big deal to those of us who are still surviving in the industry, that's what we're living essentially every day.
Yeah. Fair. Well said, Nate. And on that, Stone, you have any final wrap ups on this? Good story. Yeah. Shout out to Arizona, man. AZ.
Shout out to AZ.
Yeah. Much love, you guys. And on that, we're going to roll into our final commercial and we're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
And we are back, you guys, and we are going to roll right into Mr. Nate Winokur. Nate was unjustly prosecuted by the DCC here in California, forcing him to have to close his business. But now Nate is educating the public to the injustices of the DCC, as well as to all of the general consumer base as to why THC should not be your focus when you are trying to purchase products in stores. But it is none other than and this platform is called Teaching Bud. It is none other than Mr. Nate Winokur.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Another perfect delivery.
Gotta show some
Jason,
Teaching Bud some love, bro. Always.
So let me get right into it. This comes from Cannabis Science and Tech, and the title is Bipartisan Attorneys General Coalition urges congressional leaders to take action on intoxicating hemp products. So this is something that's impacting the entire country right now, and it could be a little bit of, a proverbial litmus strip test to see where everything's going to be going. I've been saying for a while that THCA industry is unfortunately going to have times of comeuppance and certain levels where it sees things really impacted on a nationwide level, and this might be an instance of one of those times. On October 24th, 2025, 39 state and territory attorney generals sent a letter to congressional leaders concerning the impacts of the current federal definition of hemp in the proliferation of synthetic and intoxicating THC products derived from hemp. The 7-page letter is addressed to Susan Collins, Senate Committee on Appropriations, Tom Cole, House Committee on Appropriations, John Bozeman, Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition and Forestry, and Glenn G.T. Thompson, House Committee on Agriculture. As noted in a press release, the letter was sent by the organization National Association of Attorney Generals, the NAAG, on behalf of the Bipartisan Coalition of the Attorneys General. Is their acronym actually NAG? Okay, anyhow, we're going to get back to that. In the letter,
yeah, it is.
In the letter, the Attorney General request that during the 2026 appropriations process or in the reauthorization of the Farm Bill, Congress redefine hemp to clarify that synthetic THC products are illegal and their sale or manufacture is criminal. A main focus on is the 2018 Farm Bill, which the letter explains has allowed, through distortion of the current definition of hemp, the unregulated industry of hemp-derived intoxicating products. Quote, the psychoactive hemp industry artificially produces various forms of THC in addition to Delta-9, like Delta-8, Delta-10, THCO, THCP, and HHC, that are then infused at high concentrations into a multitude of products that can intoxicate a person as severely as the most potent strains of cannabis sold on the illicit market. I really stack that on there. That's what the letter explained, end quote. The complete cessation of this industry by Congress is called for in order to prevent increased risks of public safety. It also notes that this will not affect hemp cultivation for agricultural and industrial purposes. Additionally, the letter argues that the redefining of hemp is also necessary to realign the Farm Bill with the FDA's Drug, Food, and Cosmetic Act, under which the THC-infused products are illegal. Poisoning reporting instances in Indiana, a state that has not legalized cannabis, were used to illustrate the effects of the growing prevalence of these products. Between 2022 and 2024, the letter states the total incidence of cannabinoid exposures reported to poison control centers increased 41%, and incidents involving minor cannabinoids such as Delta-8 THC and Delta-10 THC increased by 2,482% in this time. So basically from one a decade to a good handful. Concern for the impact on the safety and health of consumers, particularly minors, was a focus for comments from the Attorney General. As the letter notes, the products are sold throughout the country without labeling standards or safety regulations, and in formats including gummies, candies, and beverages. For too long, bad actors have used a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill to profit from super potent hemp-derived THC products by placing them in gas stations, convenience stores, and online marketplaces. Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday stated in a November 4th press release. This unregulated market allows children, look at the children, they always lose me when I hear that. This unregulated market allows children to buy these extremely potent products, oftentimes without any knowledge that the products are intoxicating, addictive, and not safe. Since the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp-derived THC products, often more potent than marijuana, have flooded the market due to a misinterpretation of the bill's language, explained Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin, first signature on the letter. These synthetic cannabinoids, including Delta-8, Delta-10, THCO, and others, are being sold in gas stations, convenience stores, and online retailers across the country, frequently in packaging purposefully designed to appeal to children. In some states, poison control centers have reported alarming increases in pediatric exposure to these substances. The letter ends with a clear call to action. We ask Congress to act decisively to clarify the Farm Bill's definition of hemp to ensure intoxicating THC products are taken off the market. So this sounds really interesting. There's a lot of ways that if this goes through in any form that it could be handled. Maybe Farm Bill is just very lightly updated to suggest total THC at all points. rather than Delta 9 would be awesome, would be one direction they could go. Another would be to take this literally and say that there's no opportunity to have an intoxicating product that is anything that can be, hemp derived, which is a real interesting potential block to the industry that we might see at this point. Otherwise, Farm Bill looks like it might be the best Trojan horse that us industry people have into introducing this one day, assuming levels of responsibility and regulation. It might be the best Trojan horse we have as people who want to see things regulated wisely of actually getting it into play. On the other hand, this would completely terminate Farm Bill, and the whole notion of THC and hemp and that whole industry would go up in flames. That's what I think. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everybody, for having me. I really appreciate it. On to you guys. What do you guys think about all of this?
I think it sucks, man. It's hemp. You're under attack. You're under attack right now. You got a bunch of guys that are pissed off because they didn't understand the science behind the bill that they signed. And
that's not true.
These products are out there. And they, in my opinion, they shouldn't be in gas stations. All that, regulate it. You can't stick the baby back in the oven like you want to. Regulate it. Get it out of gas stations. I believe the beverages could be in a convenience store and treated like alcohol. Everything else needs to be in a dispensary. So kids don't have access. Take that away from them. What about the kids? Take that away from them. Regulate it. Don't put the baby back in the oven.
Why not head shops? Head shops don't allow kids in there.
I mean, why not a head shop? I don't know. Why not? I guess a head shop. We're splitting hairs here now. I mean, if it's an age-gated establishment that I think specializes in that product, and they're going to help it, and they're educating people on the product, then yeah, by all means.
Okay, all right. And Steve Blessingham in the chat, he decided to chime in. He said the walls are closing in. Bevin said that during the drafting of the hemp provisions of the Farm Bill, we asked federal regulators to create quality and safety standards for these products. And he also said, we told FDA exactly what would happen without proper regulations and products would become popular. Quality would vary and there would be no age restrictions and consumers wouldn't know what they're buying. The FDA responded with silence for over 2 years and sent out a few warning letters in late 2024. Too little, too late. Well, I think it's way too much. I agree with them on that. It's too little, too late. This is not, not what. But as far as them calling it a loophole, it's total BS. They knew exactly what they were doing when they did this, and this was their basically way to experiment, to test, with legalization across the country. And I think overall it's gone very good. What's that?
Sorry, may I suggest real quick that this is somewhat linked, I believe, with the notion that there is somewhat of a wave, and it could be said to be Republican. It could be said to be recent. There's definitely some Venn diagram overlap there happening, and we don't 100% know for the sake of my comment right here. Mm-hmm. But there has been some recent anti-cannabis sentiment in, the U.S. And one thing I can, direct it at isn't necessarily the cannabis consumer. It's the politicians who make decisions for cannabis.
Nate.
And whether those people, I'm not saying who that is. I'm just suggesting that wave of anti-cannabis sentiment, it seems to be existing on the political level, not on the consumer level. And that's only
Nate,
my point. Because
I have a question, Nate. I have a question in relation
really quick,
with that.
And when I just say this, regardless of what side of the spectrum you could say I'm on, this article said 39 different states wrote things in. We know that's an overwhelming bipartisan majority. And so that's what we're seeing here. And that's my point is cannabis consumer and what are their interests in terms of what is being weighed by the people who are making these decisions, regardless of political spectrum. And to me, it just sounds like rights being impacted upon and the wrong things being paid attention to. To Stone's last comment, last he spoke, it was about regulation and what happens when you have an absence of it. It's the same idea and story. If you listen about it, it's kind of almost come up multiple times here. I'm sorry to have interrupted you, though, my friend.
Nate,
what were you going to say?
Nate, you have never lived your entire life in a situation where there weren't politicians that were anti-cannabis. Like, it's not like all of a sudden there's like this new anti-cannabis wave coming up. These people have always been avid prohibitionists their entire lives and their entire time in office. Nothing is new and nothing has changed. None of this is new.
The problem with the prohibitionist mindset is they actually think they can write out a piece of paper and call it a law.
Correct.
And they're going to solve all this.
Yes, correct.
See, you're going to pass more laws you can't enforce. You cannot enforce the laws we have on the books now. And every time they try to fix it, it's like squeezing a balloon. Yeah, we squeeze here, but it pops out someplace else.
Exactly.
That's the reality here. And a prohibitionist mindset is that I told you not to do it, therefore we're going to punish you if you do it. It's paying no attention to the realities of human behavior.
Exactly.
Humans want to do this. If you tell them you can't do it, some of them will go, okay, mommy, I won't do it. The rest of us are going, yeah, fuck you. When you ain't looking, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
That's the reality to deal with. And they tried to, fashion laws a very long time ago in the 1930s, try and prohibit this. It was a miserable failure from the gate. Okay. And they didn't understand. They used a term called hemp, which is this plant forever until they go, oh, we got this stuff called Indian hemp, which has a lot of THC. What do we do with that? No one quite knew. Then they called it marijuana. And it's like, you guys figure out what you're doing. No, they can't figure out what they're doing because they don't understand what this plant does and how it affects people. They'll drop a definition. And it turns out the definition was too narrow to fit all the things people are going to do. And now we're playing this catch-up game. The black market will go away, and so will the hemp market go away. If you treat this like alcohol, and if you're going to have it in a stop and rob, okay, it better be in a place like they do alcohol, and you check IDs. It's not even close to as dangerous as tobacco and alcohol. You can walk into a store and buy tobacco and alcohol. They have the license. Nobody gives a shit. No kids are walking out of there. They do. You lose your license. I don't know why this is so complicated. Oh my God, the kids.
I agree. I agree. They make it way too exactly. The C word gave us a super chat. It says no one is going to buy hemp products once they are educated about them, though. I totally disagree with that comment. There's tons of people that want weed light products and whatnot, and so there's it is a mids market after all. So I seriously doubt that, and I mean, the beverages apparently are taking off, even though it's all total baloney. You know what I'm saying, Stone?
Oh, you hate that beverage market?
They're just so dumb, bro. They're just so dumb. But
even if they find a way to come up with a legislative and regulatory package that actually makes sense, what we're dealing with right now ain't going away for a few years. I'm sorry, it's just not going to. And what Rand Paul is saying is like, hey, we got this market out there. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
Because if you don't deal with it realistically, it's going to go underground and continue. Let's keep moving it forward. And then the prohibitionists, oh, we told you no, don't do it. Well, that's stupid. That's never going to happen. How do we bridge from where we are now to a point where this is in the rearview mirror and we're thinking we were pretty stupid in that period of time? I don't know how we get there because we're still in a period where this is pretty stupid how we're handling this. I mean, I don't know where you got your education, but it was a Cracker Jacks box as far as I can tell, is you don't go talk to people who know what they're talking about here and fashion something that makes sense. They just go, let's change this. It'll be fine. The next thing you know, it's like, you just made it even worse. Stop already.
Brian Dombrowski in the chat, he does make a good point. He says it will all be hemp products when it's all said and done. It's very true.
It is.
Very true. It already is. It already is. People just need to get over it, and people just need to sing Hemp Hemp Hooray, and let's all have a great day and weed for the people. You know what I mean? That's what it's
never
about.
Killed anybody from an overdose. So let's stop.
Exactly. Well, I have one final story for you guys, and I did have one quick announcement that I wanted to make to everybody real quick in relation. Richard Lee, they are, for all the folks that are going to be in the Bay Area, this Sunday, they are having his celebration of life and legacy from 12 to 5 on November 9th. You can register on Oaksterdam's website for this. There's going to be food at noon, and the services will be at 1 o'clock. And just register on Oaksterdam's website if you want to be able to attend that service. But I have one final story for you, Dale. This is this is going to keep the lawyers busy. And you know what? All the beverage makers are going to be really pissed about this, Stone. Okay, so I'm just letting you know, all of your people, they're going to be really, really, really mad. Okay, because a new open container charges for medical marijuana are now in effect, you guys. That's right. A new law took effect recently means Oklahoma drivers now need to keep medical marijuana products sealed and out of the reach of potential face an open container charge. Then a quote, they say, "The way the bill is written is that really it's the driver's responsibility," said the author of the bill. Senator Darrell Weaver, from Republican for More, says, "The law prohibits unsealed medical marijuana products from being transported in the front seat of a vehicle and also says passengers can't consume marijuana products either." In a quote, they hand us their driver's license and their medical marijuana card like it's some kind of get out of jail free card, said Aaron Brilbeck with the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office. "So this sends a clear message that you can't have anybody smoking in your vehicle." Brilbeck and Senator Weaver explained that under this new law, drivers are expected to keep products either in the back seat or in the trunk of the vehicle. In a quote, "What this is all about is just being reasonable, and we don't want impaired drivers on the road," said Senator Weaver. Brilbeck added a reminder to drivers after their next medical marijuana purchase: "The package that you purchased in this package, that it needs to remain, and that package needs to be sealed," said Brilbeck. In addition to any fine imposed, there's an additional $250 trauma care fee that goes to Oklahoma's Trauma Care Assistance Revolving Fund. Well, you guys, look at that. Don't be riding around with no open containers out there, and it's because it's not A-OK in Oklahoma, you guys. What do y'all have to say about this?
I hate these.
It's not Oklahoma anymore, Stone.
What we've done here is figured out another way to pull your ass over.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
There you go.
Do I see any open containers in this car, sir?
That's so dumb. It can't even be in the front seat. Like, get out of here, man. Wow.
What if it's in your center console? Is that considered the front seat?
I would think so, yeah.
But it has a lid on it.
So can you access it while you're driving? See, that's the concept. And they keep making the comparison alcohol.
To alcohol.
Which it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll give you my advice again. Don't smoke pot while you're out driving around, because you will piss somebody off if they stop you. Just get out of the car and take a walk. I used to advise my clients, listen, go buy yourself a tackle box, put a lock on it, and when you're driving around, stick it in your trunk. That way I can defend you to the hilt, because it wasn't an open container, it was locked in the trunk.
Yep.
Okay. That's an extra step that's just a defensive measure. This is a cop mentality, as you understand, Stone. It's like, I can smell weed, I can't bust you for that, but oh my God, you don't have a top on that. You opened the bag.
You got an open container in here, I see.
Hundreds of dollars for your discretion here. And it's just irritating that we're still playing these games. And this is a prohibitionist tactic. If you're under the influence, my God, get them off the road.
Yeah.
If they're not, this is another way just to fuck with somebody for weed.
Any final thoughts on this, Stone? I mean, this is this open container thing, I get it for beverages, but for like a bag of weed, it's totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
I mean, let's just think about it for real. Time and time again, any prohibitionary action, it does not limit the amount of how people are acting, right, Dale? People act the way they're going to act no matter what. You're just really adding ways that you can get them in trouble, right? That's really all that's happening. So what we're, to me, what we're looking at here, I mean, let me put myself into, the shoes of one of those people.
Oh, yeah.
One, if I,
don't forget to tie 'em.
Jump off on the side of the road because I'm on a road trip with friends and we decide to smoke one and look at the scenery. I better litter, because if I bring, if I'm driving through Oklahoma and I bring that, trash back in the car with me, now that's an open container, right?
Yep.
Like everybody here is a cannabis consumer and knows cannabis well enough to know how this works. Like, think about it. You're literally like right off the first dumb thought that my stupid brain comes up with is that you're just going to create a massive dump of cannabis trash, which, as I'd like to think, responsible group of cannabis users, how sick are we of seeing that kind of stuff littering the floor anyway and making the rest of us look bad, right? Now, that's just like, that's the normal kind of crap. Like, what else are we actually asking for when we give people the opportunity to determine what that open container is? Because, and I'm just going to throw it out there, like, what about the ability to use cannabis? What about half-burned bowls? What about literally everything else that encircles somebody in their relatively daily cannabis use that couldn't be construed as an open container, even when it's not?
Anyone that relights a bowl, that's just gross, because that shit never tastes the same, bro. It tastes disgusting.
I totally agree with you. But
anyone that does that, that's just real gross. This is real gross.
This is a bad time to play the high road. You know, a cannabis smoker is going to enjoy it on their own ground, and we're still in that same community. I feel you. And on that note, I don't endorse refries. You know, do you remember? Man. Did you ever scrape resin? I did. You know what my proudest moment as a sibling is my little brother looked up to me one day, and I didn't make this up. I mean, he was of age, of course, but he looked up to me one day and he said, "Hey, bro, what's resin? Do people actually smoke that?" Yeah. And I'm like, I'm such a good sibling that I've never let you smoke resin in your life. You never had to count the number of bowls you'd get off of $20 and then know you could scrape the stem after that. Like, I am the best brother ever. You know, it was the proudness I felt right there. Oh, wouldn't you? How's that work?
The hash kids are going to hate this because, you know, is it resin? Is it rosin? What's the difference? You know what I mean?
Oh no, we used to scrape resin. That was that black crap out of the stem.
I've seen plenty of rosin that's black.
We would refry that.
I've seen plenty of black rosin.
Your fingers afterwards, yeah, for that nasty shit.
I've seen plenty of black rosin.
You start counting all the roaches and cut them up and try to make a joint out of that shit left.
Yeah,
it was a different time back then. You did what you had to do, bro.
Exactly. Exactly. Stone still smokes like that.
Oh yeah, man! Give me all your generation joints, baby.
Yep. See, he's generational. He's generational. Well,
no, man, these lungs are old, and they only do the best.
Do you still smoke? Shit. Do you still smoke out of beer cans, Stone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the term generation joint in a long ass time, man. Well done.
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on over here, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day, and thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.